Once again. Now we are moving towards the keynote speaker. So first of all, I would like to call Mr. Muthu, sir, Deputy Executive Director of Godrej Green Business Center, Hyderabad, to give a keynote speak about.
Thank you so much. Very good morning to all of you. It's really my pleasure to be part of this program. I would like to thank Prakruti Foundation and All India Institute of Local Self-Government for giving us this opportunity to present here on the perspectives from the industry and the CII Green Business Center. So I represent Confederation of Indian Industry Green Business Center, which is located in Hyderabad. I'm sure most of you are aware about the CII, which is the largest industry association in the country with more than 9,000 members from mainly the manufacturing and services sectors being part of CII. And the Green Business Center is mainly working on promoting the concept of green, right from energy efficiency, green building, green companies, green products, and other climate change mitigation efforts with industry. So I would like to share our experiences of how the corporate sector can focus on green and sustainability in a bigger way. And also through Green Company Rating Program, we are working with more than 1,000 plants across the country, including large PSUs like Indian Oil. Just wanted to share what is the approach and how as a business we can do much more and then implement all green and sustainability. I understand some majority of you may be from ULBs, not from the industry, but I hope this presentation will also be helpful to each one of you. I think the title of the conference is on Sustainable Planet. So today, all of us are aware about the importance of environment and sustainability. So just to take you through the ecological footprint, there is an organization called Footprint Network.org in US. They have been working on understanding the ecological footprint of the world since 1961. Footprint is nothing but whatever the resources we are using it, everything is coming from the earth. Okay. Suppose we are using electricity, ultimately electricity is maybe from a coal-based power plant, ultimately coal is from the mines. So similarly, whatever activity we are doing, the impacts also going back to the earth. So it may be going to the atmosphere through air emissions or liquid waste, which is sent to the river bodies or sea. And then similarly, the solid waste we are dumping into the ground. Okay. So ecological footprint is nothing but whatever the resource required for the entire humanity, how much is the resource available from the earth? Similarly, how much is the resource available on the earth to take care of the waste we are generating? Okay, so that is what the ecological footprint of the entire world. So in 2010 itself, our footprint was much more than the capacity of the earth. That means we are over exploiting the earth's capacity. Okay, I think that is the reason we all know that we don't have. So if we continue to do this way, so we need almost 3 years to take care of our resources by 2050. I think we don't have that luxury of having 3 years. So how are you going to work within the limit of the Earth's capacity is what the sustainable development. So that is what we need to achieve by 2050. Of course, the other side, you all know the major challenges what we are facing today. The climate change and global warming is one of the biggest issues. So that's the reason the entire world, including the United Nations and India and all the countries, almost 190 countries are working on setting target as per the Paris climate change commitment. And today we are focusing more on the climate and global warming. Then you all know the resource availability. So whichever the resources we have, I think there are the availability is limited. So it's all finite sources. So how are you going to reuse and recycle more and more? That is where I think the municipalities and big cities, how are we going to reuse and recycle the waste that we are generating? And we are all moving away from the linear economy to the circular economy where everything should come back and then it should be a raw material for further use. Then other pollutions, especially the cities, you all find every city we have the big challenge of the pollution because of many things, including the vehicles what we are using or the factories and other construction sector. So everywhere, it's all having a lot of impact. Then the last one is the biodiversity loss. So I think everywhere we are trying to construct buildings and develop towns and cities, but it's very equally important to have the biodiversity. maybe I can give an example. Suppose today, if honeybee is going to extinct from the earth will collapse in next 4 years. Do you know why? Because honeybee is responsible for more than 65% of the cross-pollination of, producing food entire world. Okay. So if honeybee is not there, then cross-pollination will not happen, then we will not get the food. Okay. So biodiversity is also equally important. So any industry or anybody, I think the focus should be on how to preserve biodiversity and increase the green cover, and then also ensure the flora and fauna in the world. So these are some of the challenges and issues. And as I mentioned, the climate change is a major issue. I think there are a lot of things happening from United Nations. The IPCC is the UN scientific body. So the latest sixth assessment report, they were very clear. It was released in 2019. By 2050, we should achieve net zero. Okay. Net zero means it should not exceed beyond 1.5 degrees centigrade of average increase in temperature of the global earth. Do you know how much is the increase in average temperature of the earth from 1850? It is about 1.2 degrees centigrade. Okay, we have only just 0.3 degree left over for next maybe 27 years. Okay, so how are you going to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions within the limits so that we are not exceeding 1.5 degree increase in temperature? Otherwise, what will happen? We are going to face a lot of climate impact. Even today we are facing. So most of the cities are flooded with the cyclone and heavy rainfall. The intensity of rainfall has gone up drastically. Okay, and at the same time, in some part of the country, we are also facing drought situation. Okay, so there are multiple climate change issues we are seeing because of the global warming. I think if it is beyond 1.5 degree after 2050, there will be irreversible effects, and that is going to lead a huge impact on the entire humanity. And the economical loss for each country will also be very high. So that is the reason most of the countries and businesses, even cities, they have set a net zero target. Either 2040 or 50. Of course, as a country, we have set 2070 as the net zero. So this is the commitment from the government of India. Prime Minister Mr. Modi was right from COP21, which happened in Paris 2015. So he's a regular participant, and as a country, India is committed to reduce our emissions. So we have multiple targets. First is the life for environment was promoted by Government of India last year, where we are looking how each and every citizen of the country aware about the importance of resource conservation, climate change impact, and then contribute. Imagine each one of us start contributing. Obviously, as a country, as a globe, we'll be able to achieve much more. This was much appreciated by even other countries during the United Nations, the Conference of Parties program. So even many other countries wanted to follow the similar mission called LIFE. Of course, the other targets, like by 2050, we wanted to achieve 50% of our power generation from the renewable energy power like solar, wind, and hydro, and also reduce our intensity of emissions. If you calculate in terms of per dollar value of GDP, whatever value we had in 2005, we want to reduce that by 45% by 2030. And whatever the target earlier we set, we have achieved much more. So the next target is to achieve close to 45%. And of course, having more green cover, all those things leading to sequestration of carbon and greenhouse gases from the atmosphere to the extent of 2.5 to 3 billion tons by 2030. And also how to work with different sectors on climate adaptation. We all know climate impact. Okay, mitigation is nothing but we are reducing the CO2 emissions. Adaptation is nothing but how to adapt to this change in climate. Okay, suppose there is a severe flood happening every year in Mumbai. So how to adapt to those things? So how to change the system? The infrastructure. What kind of initiatives government and other bodies are working with the marginalized people, because most of the marginalized people are affected in terms of the climate impact. So all those things are called adaptation. So India as a country, we wanted to do more on adaptation. And of course, ultimately, we want to be zero in terms of emissions by 2070. Having seen all these issues and challenges, I represent the industry, so my presentation also more from the industry perspective. As a business, as an industry, what is that we should do? So each and every activity, of course, it is applicable for anybody also, even citizen and other stakeholders also. So each and every activity, what we do, how to improve the efficiency and reduce the intensity of resources or emissions. Okay. So that is what we want to do. Suppose I am manufacturing a product. So for manufacturing the product, I need a lot of energy, water, and I generate waste. So can I reduce this year on year? And ultimately, look for the best number. So that is what the improvement in efficiency and reducing the resource intensity. And UNEP also has come out with a very clear suggestion on how to decouple growth versus the environmental impact. Okay. So countries like India, we are emerging country, we wanted to grow. So that means we need more resources. We need to generate more employment. So more factories, then again leading to more resource consumption and waste issues. So here we want to decouple the growth versus the resource consumption and environmental impact. For example, if I am going for new factory, I will have 100% renewable sources or solar or wind. That means my energy impact is completely reduced. Suppose I am going for 100% recycling of water and I am going for harvesting the water as much as possible and then become a water positive company. So all these things will decouple our growth. We'll grow, we'll have more employment, more industries, but the resource consumption will be much lower. So that is where we want to do. So this is a suggestion from the UNEP. So this is what we call it as a green, which is being implemented by most of the manufacturing companies. So pursuing green is also having a lot of opportunities in terms of money saving, because I'm going to reduce energy or water or avoid waste. So obviously it is going to improve my bottom line also. So all these things, we have been doing many activities from this center. So this is the center which is in Hyderabad. This is called Green Business Center. It was initially supported in terms of building the infrastructure. So it's named as the Sohrabji Godrej, because Godrej Foundation funded this project. Otherwise, it is 100% part of CII, and it is a department within CII. So we have multiple activities on promoting the green building, green companies, green products, and other energy efficiency related activities. And interestingly, this was the first green building in the country in 2003 when it was inaugurated by Dr. Abdul Kalam, the then President of India. So this was awarded with the platinum rating. So at that time, this was the first platinum rated building outside USA also. Then in 2019, we have gone for 100% solar in our rooftop. And then we have about 130 kilowatt with a net metering system. So we are able to achieve net zero energy building. That means whatever the energy consumption of the building for the entire year, we are able to generate on our own. Sometimes we generate excess, sometimes we may consume from the grid, but on a net metering basis, we always generate little more compared to our consumption. So that's the reason we call it a net zero energy building. So coming to today's conference, especially from the manufacturing company's point of view, CII Green Business Center is promoting the concept called GreenCo rating. So this was again launched by Dr. Abdul Kalam in 2013 in Pune. So since 2013, we have been promoting this concept. Today we have more than 1,000 plus plants from different companies. They are implementing this green rating program. So it's basically a voluntary rating for companies to adapt and improve their environmental performance. So it's very holistic in nature. So right from the raw material stage, manufacturing, distribution, use phase and end of life phase, all aspects of the products are considered in the rating program. So using the life cycle approach. So out of 1,700 plants are already rated, and Dr. Kulkarni from Prachi Services is also very actively involved in promoting this concept as a facilitator. So I would like to thank. And we have Mr. Indurkar. So he was the man behind Indian Oil to adopt the GreenCo rating. Today, more than 210 plants of Indian Oil marketing locations are implementing GreenCo. And following many other oil marketing companies and private sector, they are all implementing this rating program. And this was also acknowledged by the Government of India, Ministry of Environment and Forest, as a report, whatever they submitted to UN on climate action. So they always acknowledge GreenCo as one of the voluntary initiative from the industries in terms of mitigating the greenhouse gas emissions. Of course, a lot of benefits. The first 400 companies achieved almost 3,500 crores of annual benefits by conserving the resources and reducing the waste. And the equivalent of 3.3 million tons of CO2 was also avoided from the atmosphere. So this is the overall crux of the entire GreenCo rating, or I would say green manufacturing. So in each and every resource area as a company, how we can become a world class in terms of energy efficiency and become a water positive company, then carbon neutral, zero waste, all those things are adopted since 2011 when we started the pilot. Today everybody is talking about net zero and carbon neutral and water positive, but more than 10 years we have been promoting through this rating, and many of the proactive companies started. today many other companies also trying to follow. So on greening the supply chain, so as how can I work with my suppliers to improve their efficiency, then green infrastructure. So how I can construct my building as a green building, how I can manage more flora and fauna and green belt. And product stewardship is nothing but as a responsible manufacturer, how can I ensure that health, safety and environmental aspect of the product during use phase, end of life is all addressed. So it's one level higher in terms of the environmental achievement. So product stewardship is also part of this. So this is the framework. So there are the latest version has 9 different requirements, right from energy management, overall management system, greenhouse gas management, water, material and resources, material and resources includes waste management also. Then how are you working with the suppliers? I just mentioned about product stewardship, then innovation, then green belt and ecology. So all those things put together 1,000 points, and there are 5 different rating level. So if a company undergoes the rating, then based on the actual points they receive, they will be the first level of green company is the certified level, then bronze, silver, gold and platinum. Somebody's gold means they are very good in many aspects at the national level. And somebody's platinum means definitely they are world class. They should be comparable with even any other best company outside the country. Even some of the companies which are implementing for last 10 years, they have moved from gold, platinum and even platinum plus, which is again a higher level of requirements to achieve in all the 10 areas. And if you are from a medium, small SME company, so this rating is also fine-tuned to these SMEs, because we cannot have a lot of requirements where it will be difficult for an SME company to implement. So we have simplified the rating for SMEs, whatever they can do within their operations. So it's all included with the 700 points, and they can get rated under this. And a lot of advantages of going for the rating. Suppose I am an SME supplying my component to some big company. Now if I am green, now I am likely to get more business, because the expectation of everybody in the value chain or supply chain is that how they can reduce their resources, how they can become net zero or carbon neutral. So from that aspect, I think even if you are an SME, you should be a green company, so that you can have a more preferred status from the marketing aspect. So these are all some of the aspects. Of course, this was just mentioned. So there are many benefits. The culture of green can be inculcated within the organization. Then all resources is going to lead money saving, world-class performance, corporate image. Then whatever the regulation which are going to happen in future, so you are well in advance in terms of implementing those things. You are much ahead. Then preferred supplier, then transparency and credibility. I think these are some of the benefits of the rating. There are several improvements happen. If you are a large company, so you will further enhance your performance and systems. If you are a small company, you are just starting, then there are many things you can start doing it in a very systematic way, right from the policies, then the people responsibility, then target setting, and then also implementation of various projects, monitoring, and then developing the culture of green within the organization. All those things will be possible through this. And if you are a large company, of course, today the requirements are very high. So even the value chain or scope 3 emissions also, as a company, they need to inventorize and then reduce it. So there will be a roadmap for achieving world-class energy company or water positive or reducing the scope 3. And then more and more awareness and involvement of people within the organization. These are some examples how even leading companies, they've started using this tool and then improving their benchmarking, awareness, and then having a roadmap in future to achieve a higher level of environmental performance. Many times companies think that we have to invest a lot of money for implementing all this resource efficiency and green. It is not so. This is one example, classic example. The left-hand side of the slide, you will find a large foundry unit having a system to monitor their energy efficient furnace on different parameters by allocating responsibility to the individual people. So you will find against each target who is responsible with his photograph and name and designation, and what is the target and what has achieved every day or every shift. Okay, so this has created a lot of the peer pressure and also more productivity, and ultimately it has resulted into reduced energy consumption and improved efficiency. And by seeing this large company's system, a small company from Pune which is manufacturing a lot of plastic component for appliances industry, they also tried to fine tune and then try to suit to their equipment, and then they try to implement it. Okay, so today many of the companies have this kind of a scorecard. Okay, today we are having a lot of good IoT-based meters, monitoring for energy, water, compressed air, but how to effectively utilize. I think these are the kind of, systems can help to further improve and then become better. Water neutrality, of course, this is part of any company's target today. If you're a green company, then definitely you should achieve water positive over a period of time. So, implement the principle of reduce, reuse and recycle and reduce the overall freshwater consumption. And then also overall look at the water positive status through beyond the fence initiatives. So this is one example from our own building. So instead of having a chemical treatment system, we have a phytoremediation. So this is only a 5 KLD plant, it's a small. If the wastewater is small and you have space available, then definitely the water treatment can happen through these plants. So this is called phytoremediation with about 3 to 5 years of payback period depending on the cost of water. So many things can be done differently. And large companies now, they have a lot of CSR projects where they are looking the water augmentation as one of the major opportunities. And they adopt certain villages nearby, and then they also adopt lakes and then augment the lake, desilting of the lake, ensure that more water is available for the society, and even the check dams and rainwater harvesting pits, all those things are being done, and ultimately those benefits also included, and they become a water positive company. So a world-class company should not be seen as competing with the society. Okay. Otherwise, there are several examples, some big corporates, because they didn't have this kind of program. So whenever there is a drought situations, always there is a conflict between the society nearby and the plant. So in one of the major paper plants, again in Maharashtra, they have to shut their plant for few months because the disruption from the society and the farmers saying that this company is responsible for, taking away all the water in that area. Then later they have to work on a public-private partnership model, and then they involve government, they involve NGOs, they involve the farmers and communities, and within 5 years they have done so many work, and then they have become water positive. Okay. So this is again 2010 story, but today it has become common for most of the big companies, and of course it can be done in any other smaller companies also. Landfill waste is a huge issue. Of course, most of you are from the ULBs, you know the importance of better waste management. So here from the manufacturing company's point of view, how we can reduce or avoid generation of waste, and if we have generated, how to recycle. Then even if it's not possible to reuse, then go for recycling, and ultimately, make it zero waste to landfill status. And this is also becoming more popular. There are, as part of the GreenCo also, we have a certification program. So company can be rated as a zero waste landfill. For that, they need a lot of work to avoid waste which is going to the landfill. And of course, the other aspect, this is what the example. So earlier ETP slides, plastic waste and all those things used to go to the landfill, but today many things are possible with reuse or recycling. And similarly, paint slides or hazardous waste, earlier it has to go to the landfill sites, but today cement or the energy generation is happening through this kind of a hazardous waste. And there are a few slides, green procurement, how to even improve or implement the green and sustainability aspects in the supply chain. Suppose I am a manufacturer, I have a tier 1 supplier of maybe some 50, 100. Then again, tier 1 supplier may have tier 2, then tier 3. So there are hundreds of suppliers in any supply chain. So how can we improve the greenness? So generally as a supplier, the relationship between the supplier and OEM is that quality, cost, delivery, these are the 3 aspects considered. Somebody should have a quality product at an affordable cost, and also they should deliver on time. Suppose I am having a good quality product, but I am not able to deliver, it's a problem. But later, environment is also included as part of this requirement. So apart from quality, cost, deliverability, so am I manufacturing my component or my product or service in an environment-friendly plant? So this is again another requirement, and that becomes a green procurement, and so green green procurement policies are there in most of the companies. So as part of green supply chain, we can look for critical suppliers and work with them on green vendor development programs. Then also look for green logistics. That means, am I using optimum utilization of my vehicle? Okay. So there are milk run system where it can go to different suppliers and ultimately come to the OEM, so that the distance of transport is reduced, and also having today technology like GPS with RFID system, so that I am not using a longer route and trying to reduce the route, and even efficient equipment for transporting. So there are so many things can be done. So all these things ultimately will lead to reduction in cost. So there are several examples. This is one example of Maruti Suzuki. Maruti Suzuki is a large automobile company. They have thousands of vendors. So when they started implementing resource efficiency within their plant, whatever they got is X. But when they started focusing on the supply chain and everybody started working, the benefit was almost 20X. Okay, because much larger in terms of the resource consumption, the number of suppliers in the supply chain. So that has resulted into multiple benefits. I think these are all possible as a big supplier, OEM. So they can influence their suppliers and ultimately they can have multiple X benefits. So this is my last slide. So through this Green Business Center, IGBC, I think some of you must be knowing, Indian Green Building Council. So we have more than 10 billion. We are close to about 11 billion square feet of green building footprint. We are the second largest in terms of the green building footprint in the world next to US. And green company rating, more than 1,000 plants are working. Green products is another service where we are having guidelines for different building materials and other industrial products. So today more than 7,300 products are rated. And energy efficiency is the service we have been doing since 1991. So more than 2,000 energy audits. And we are also working with some startup companies which are having some green and clean tech products. So if you are a startup company, you are less than a few crores. Of course, FlexGen, I think, is also going to present. They are part of this ACE program. So we are also working with 30 more startup companies in promoting them with the industry. So to sum up, green and sustainability were the need of the hour. So there are huge opportunities in terms of all this resource efficiency and other environmental improvements. So whoever you are, either the manufacturing or as an individual, you can start implementing various practices. So invite each one of you to be part of this green movement. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for this insightful keynote speech. Sir, nicely talks about how the green initiatives are happening and its functionality and how GreenCo is working. So it was really great to see this. Thank you so much, sir.